If you look closely, you can see the circuit board print on the figure. Do you see it? Do you? Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I like making things out of paper, and I like making things cooler. Especially my figures. Sometimes figures don't look all that screen accurate. All they need is a bit of touch up here and there to unleash their hidden potential. I also love using everyday tools and materials to recreate iconic scenes from my figures, so they can shine on my display. Subscribe to my channel and join my DIY adventure as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it? Last week, I worked on King Valkyrie. She's a pretty good figure. I didn't have to do much. I mostly work on her face to make her a bit less doll-like. Check it out if you haven't already. It's been 2 years since my very first video here on YouTube. To celebrate this milestone, I'm gonna work on the highly requested figure, the black and gold Spiderman figure from No Way Home. When this wave was first revealed, I didn't get any of the Spiderman because I wanted to know which one was the main suit. The integrated one or the black and gold one. I also thought both figures were a bit underwhelming. I was expecting more accessories. It also didn't help that this is clearly just a repaint of the upgraded suit from Far From Home. However, upon close inspection, there is something interesting about this figure. So, let's deconstruct this figure. The most glaring issue for this figure are the red bits on his forearms and fingers. I believe this is based on the concept art, and in the movie, the final design is pretty much all black and gold. The suit is supposed to be the upgraded suit worn inside out with all the circuit bits and wires sticking out. Hasbro actually tried to show that by printing the circuit lines onto the figure. But those lines are so hard to see that they just make the overall figure look greasy instead. That's the main reason why I didn't get this figure for the longest time. I didn't like how glossy the upper body looks compared to the legs. Okay, I also avoided fixing this figure because it seems very challenging to get the look right. But since this is my 2nd year anniversary video, I'm gonna challenge myself. So, can I make it? The first thing I want to do is to remove that glossy look of the figure. I like what Hasbro was attempting with the wires, but it's just not working. You have to hold the figure so close to the face to actually notice them. So I'm gonna have to cover them all up with the black. Acrylic paint dries matte, so mattify the figure, giving the suit that rubbery look it had in the movie. I'm also going to cover up the red bits on his arms. And to keep the texture consistent, I'm going to paint over the thighs as well. I went over the movie multiple times. It appears that the goat bits don't extend to the side of his waist. So I'm going to cover those bits up too. Can't forget his web shooting hands. Now all there's left to cover up is his mask. I'm only applying the paint over the black areas. I'm avoiding the gold web lines with my brush, maximizing the contrast between the shiny gold and the matte black. I really like the gold paint they used here. I wonder why they didn't use this on Thor. Okay, now that I've painted over all the black areas, I'm gonna go over them with a layer of matte varnish to add a layer of protection so I don't accidentally scratch the paint off. I'm still gonna avoid applying the varnish over the web lines. Gotta keep those lines shiny. And most importantly, gotta apply the varnish over the forearms and fingers. Gotta protect those prone areas. I sometimes get asked if I use sealant after I paint my figures. It depends. If the paint color is similar to the base figure, I usually leave it. I'm usually careful when I'm posing my figures, so I don't accidentally scratch the paint off. I usually apply the varnish when I'm completely changing the color or when I'm painting over the joints or fingers. There's a high chance of these areas rubbing against itself or props, so the varnish adds a bit more protection against minor scratches and rubbing. Overall, I do suggest adding a sealant or varnish and always be gentle when posing the figures. Alright, let me do some minor touch-ups with the gold. In the movie, The spider symbol on his chest is mostly gold, so I'm going to do the same to mine. I'm also adding a tiny bit of gold onto the spider legs too, to make them stand out just a bit more. And the same thing to the spider legs on his back. And for the fingers, I'm gonna add a bit of gold to the lines near his knuckles. Not sure how accurate this will be, but I want some colors on his hands so they don't look too plain. I'm also adding the gold lines around the thumb area. Okay, here's the base figure all painted. I love the matte look of this so much more. I can end it here, but I want to do more. There's this part in the movie that I really enjoyed. It's when Peter was swinging around looking for the multiverse villains, and he duct taped his phone on his chest, so MJ and Ned could see what he was seeing too. I don't want to use duct tape directly on the figure. It's gonna ruin the paint and leave residue behind. Instead, I'm gonna use paper to make a temporary mold first. Something like this. Okay, it's hard to do this and show it on camera at the same time, so I'm gonna have to do this off screen. Be right back. Oh wait, before I add the duct tape piece onto the figure, I gotta add those exposed wires first. I thought about not adding them because this requires a lot of patience and steady hands. I need to paint in a bunch of straight lines that are subtle so they don't overshadow the gold web lines, but obvious enough so that you can tell what I'm going for at a distance. It's a tough balance. I decided to go with silver for the lines because I want the lines to reflect light at various angles. It's going to be challenging to keep the lines thin and consistent. One wrong stroke can potentially ruin the whole thing. Okay, here's what half his chest looks like with the lines. I like what I'm seeing. I like that the gold is still the more dominant color. Okay, let's continue with the lines. Hiya! The entire chest area is all done. Okay, so far so good. This is working. Hiya! I added the lines to his arms and the abdomen area. Look at the way it catches the light. It looks so cool. In the movie, there are more exposed circuit lines. I'm not going to add that many lines because I think that would be too much as a figure. I'm just going to add a few more lines to his thighs. Ooh, look at that. I think I'm good with the lines on the body and limbs. The silver is starting to take over. I still want this to look black and gold, so I'm going to have to leave the body as is. Let me add a couple more lines to the head to complete the exposed circuit look. I'm going to keep these lines a bit more subtle compared to the body. Spider-Man's mask is very iconic. I don't want the lines to become too distracting to the face. Alright, here's the head with the lines. Much more subtle compared to the body. It's barely noticeable in some angles, which I kinda like. What do you think? Do you like the silver lines? Let me know down below. Alright, since these lines are so thin and are everywhere on the figure, I don't want to risk having them get rubbed off over time. So I'm going to seal everything in one more time with another layer of matte varnish. Maybe the lines will become more subtle after this too. We'll see. Let's hope everything works out. I don't want to paint those lines again. To make his eyes stand out a bit more against the black suit, I'm going to apply a layer of glossy varnish over the black rims to make them more reflective. Alright, here's the figure all finished. I love the matte black look so much. It just looks a bit more high-end compared to the original. What do you think? The lack of Gauntlet is pretty disappointing. It's the whole reason why Peter was wearing this suit. I thought about using clay to make the Gauntlet, but I only have air-dried clay and it would be too brittle. Instead, I'm using my favorite medium, paper. I just need to figure out the right shape for it to bend around the forearm. Let's try this. It looks a bit like a cast. Gotta try again. Okay, that looks a bit better. Getting closer. Ooh, that's looking like a gauntlet. Let's do the final design and see how it looks. Please work, please work, please work. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Let me glue it together so it fits the arm perfectly. Ta-da! Here's the gauntlet all finished. I added a bit of gold paint and varnish over it to make it a bit more metallic and solid. I think it looks pretty decent. It's a pretty small piece, so durability is crucial. I'm very happy with how this turned out. Okay, I didn't forget about the duct tape piece. After some finessing off screen, I got it to fit his torso snugly. Look at that, it's perfect. Now all I gotta do is add duct tape over this piece of paper so it looks like it's made out of duct tape. Ta-da! Here it is. Let's see if it still fits. Oh okay, not bad. Kinda looks like seatbelts. But the good thing is, I just have to tape the back pieces together to secure it onto the torso, keeping the figure untouched. Look at that fit. Nice. The back isn't exactly the prettiest, but it's okay. I rarely see the back of my figures. Now just gonna add the cherry on top. The Zoom call with MJ and Ned. Voila! A tiny cell phone. Okay, it's just a very small print of the video call. Now all I need to do is tape it onto the strap. Hey, you can now support me on Patreon. I post quite regularly there, from behind the scenes updates to sneak peeks to video breakdowns. Top tier members will receive a DIY 3D mini poster every month. These mini posters look great by themselves, but even cooler next to other mini posters. I love making things, and this is my way to thank my supporters. The link to my Patreon is in the description box down below. And it's time for the final reveal. Here's the black and gold suit Spider-Man all finished. The original red looks so out of place. What's really weird is that the duct tape piece visually broadened his shoulders. I love how the gauntlet and the cell phone turned out. They really fit the black and gold suit. The gauntlet doesn't look too out of place. Now I'm curious to see how this looks with the Peter Parker head. Ah, this looks great too. Okay, not so much from the sides, but I really like this unmasked look. The iconic trio, Peter, Ned and MJ all together. I think the best thing about this is that I can easily remove all the accessories and revert him back to just a base figure. Oh man, those red forearms are so distracting. I see why they didn't go with them in the final movie. And I do prefer the matte look. I think the original one looks a bit too oily to me. If it was a symbiote suit, then it would be fine. But it's supposed to be the upgraded suit inside out, so the matte look seems more fitting. And I think I did a better job with the circuit lines, especially on the arms. It seems like the gold web lines are not as reflective now due to the black paint and the matte varnish, but I think it matches the look from the movie. Still kinda goes with the inside out look. Okay, this wasn't so bad. I was avoiding this figure because it felt like it needed a big overhaul, and I wasn't sure if I could do it. For the longest time, I thought I had to make the gauntlet out of clay, but it would be too fragile and probably break apart after a few poses. But this paper gauntlet is almost perfect. The design is pretty screen accurate and it looks believable. The best thing is that it's quite form-fitting. The only thing I may change are the straps. They do look a bit thick, but at least I'm not worried about the gauntlet breaking on me. The varnish actually stiffened it quite a bit. The cell phone on his chest is just a small print of Ned and MJ, but it looks so good too. Using real duct tape definitely helped, and I love that it's not making direct contact with the figure. That would bother me to no end. The added circuit lines aren't exactly screen accurate. I just don't have the patience to draw that many lines, so I did my own interpretation of the lines. I was worried that it would look like a mess, or it would overpower the gold web lines, but they turned out fine. Love the way they glisten on the figure. Not gonna do this again though, it's too stressful. Which version of the black and gold suit do you prefer? Do you prefer the whole getup with the cell phone and the gauntlet? Or do you prefer just the gauntlet? Or maybe you like the whole black aesthetic. I can't wait for Tom Holland's Spiderman to get the symbiote suit. This black and gold suit is such a tease. And of course, I have the post Spiderman with the strange box. This is a good combo. Peter Parker in the black and gold suit with the box. I'll never get tired of this look. Let's admire this just a bit longer before the photo shoot. Let's start without the accessories. I see why people love this design. The black and gold combo is so pleasing to look at. But I wanted more. I wanted that magical gauntlet and the cell phone. This is such a fun look. The use of real duct tape adds to the realism of the figure. It's hard to replicate that duct tape texture without using duct tape. But I would never use duct tape directly on my figures. This is a nice compromise. The straps may look a bit thicker, but I get to keep the duct tape aesthetic. And best of all, I can still remove it without worrying about ripping the paint off, or leaving residue behind. That way I can create multiple looks with this figure. Like this Peter Parker version with the strange box. There's just something really cool about seeing an unmasked Spider-Man, especially seeing Peter and his buddies. Give this video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay inspired and I'll see you next week. I can make it, so can you. Oh hey, you're still here. Can you believe it? It's already been 2 years since my first video. Wow. I started this channel because I wanted to upgrade my figures, and you continue to watch and support my videos. I'm so grateful for that. I'm gonna give away 3 sets of the No Way Home props. The strange box, the gauntlet, and the duct tape cell phone piece. All you need to do is leave a comment below and I'm gonna pick 3 winners randomly. Good luck. I also opened up the PO box. If there's something you think I should check out, you can send them to my PO box. I figured this may be a good way for me to broaden my content and feature things I may not have gotten myself. If you made it to the end of the video, you're the best. Alright, bye.